Good morning, friends. Welcome back to Astrology Today and Tarot. My name is Mel Rose. This is the Tarot portion in the second half of my daily astrology vlog, which you can check out on my other channel, Astrology Today with Mel Rose. Over there, you'll find a description of the day's astrology as I've spelled it out here. Here, I will discuss the tarot card that sits on the side of the page, and then I'll play another card that, in the context of the day's astrology, may just give us something more to think about. So let's get into it. The card that currently sits on the side of the page, it's a new one, friends. It's the Five of Swords, and it is here for a reason. It's here because it corresponds in astrology with the first 10 days or the first decan of the sun's transit here in the land of Aquarius. Here you see the sun has just made 0 degrees Aquarius. So Aquarius is an air sign, and swords in tarot represent air element symbolism. And air element symbolism is very much about the rationale, the intellect, what we do with our brains, how we think, how we plan, and also how we communicate with others. And with swords in tarot, you know, the sword is really considered like the sword of truth. You can use it to cut both ways. You can do it to help or to do harm, so we have to be careful about the way we wield our words and even our thoughts and plans, okay? And so we come to the Five of Swords, and what we see here is that the train is very loud, but hopefully you'll just be able to hear me over it. What we see here is it looks like somebody has sort of won a battle, right? Maybe even picked the fight. There are some swords on the ground. This person is holding 2 swords over their shoulder and 1 in their hand. And you see some people have sort of turned their backs. They look a little wounded. There are clouds in the blue sky, right? So there's a little bit of hard feelings going on there. The wind in this person's fiery red hair. So, this is a card that really speaks to unbridled ambition, okay? This sort of sense that we have to win at all costs, and even like this desire to sort of sneak in the caveat or sneak in the jab there that will surprise and wound our opponent, right? So, yes, this person appears to have won a victory. That victory is going to have some sort of subtle consequences that they might not realize right away, right? Because, here's the thing. And swords, again, it's about our thoughts, our plans, and our communications. So especially, when it comes to being in an argument, okay, disagreeing with other people, or, having a point to make that you want other people to get, sometimes we come to a point where we know absolutely the truth about something, or we know absolutely the best way to win the argument, at least the most logical way to come out on top. But, in doing so, in winning at all costs, sometimes we sort of lose support from people who could be our allies, right? So we eliminate the competition by coming out on top every time, and that sort of creates resentment in the other people. And then, we kind of isolate ourselves that way from potentially helpful co-conspirators and collaborators, right? So winning isn't everything. I just want to say that, like coming out on top in every conversation, in every argument, in every, just comparison of points of view, not always the best strategy, for the long term, because no person does everything alone. Eventually this person is going to need some help with something. They're going to need somebody to collaborate with them on a plan, and they're going to look around and find that, they kind of shot down everybody who was interested in interacting with them. And so, then you find yourself in a place where you might have to go it alone and you didn't really want to. And we got the High Priestess. Okay, so that's a major arcana card, and we saw this one recently. This is a major message from the tarot. When it comes up in a reading, it's meant for me to tell you to trust your gut, your guidance, and your intuition, okay? The High Priestess is a person who has some authority. This is a person you would go to for guidance. This is a person who sort of knows things, okay, from the gut, just by understanding the circumstances and sort of reading the signs and omens. They know what's going on, and they can give guidance regarding what's going on sort of underneath the surface of things, right? Not just the way somebody's acting or the way things are panning out, but what's really going on underneath, behind the scenes, that we may not know about. That's what the high priestess is good at knowing. That's what the high priestess is good at using to provide guidance, to provide leadership, to provide help and insight. So where do we see the high priestess here on the page? Well, the high priestess, okay, there are at least 4 moons on this on this picture. If you see the moon at this person's feet, and then the sort of moon with 2 crescents upon their head. So it's very much a moon card. Unlike the actual moon card in Tarot, it's not so much about confronting our own hidden depths as it is deriving from our hidden depths certain understanding, deriving, what are the right questions to ask, what is the right path to go down from here. Okay, the moon today is conjunct to Mercury. It's really just about listening to your gut. What's going on, what things feel like to you are going to inform your path forward. And the moon is conjunct to Mercury today, so moon conjunct to Mercury. This is really a good time. It intensifies both that feeling self, which is the moon, and that rational, thoughts, plans, and communication self, which is Mercury. So that's appropriate that we have both of these cards, and we have the moon conjunct Mercury today. It's a good time. It intensifies both of those vibes, so it's a good time to have some interpersonal conversations with people you keep close or people that you like and trust. It's a good time to share fond memories, inside jokes, sort of reinforce that connection with somebody that we like to keep close. And it's also a time when we might actually be able to see within a little bit better. Our sort of rational minds and our feeling hearts are linked together at this time. They're sort of combined, so we can remember our dreams. We can really sort of understand with clarity what's going on, not just in our feelings, but beneath the feelings, what's coming up from the gut, what our intuitions are telling us at this time. And that conjunct is trine to this conjunct Uranus and the North Node in Taurus, and these 2 are in Capricorn. So that's very earth mode. That's very much about our physical resources and what kind of work or investment we're willing to make. So we're having a lot of ease right now, even though there's this sort of changing trajectory toward establishing the security we seek. We're really able to converse with other people about it, and that we're really able to also converse with ourselves about it, and to sort of maintain a steady course in spite of, or perhaps even because of the changeable nature of these sort of goods that we seek for our lives, these good things that we seek to have in our lives. That conjunct is also square to Jupiter here. So Jupiter and Chiron here, these are within 10 degrees of each other now, so they're technically essentially conjunct. So this brings up a challenge and an opportunity to remember while we're digging deep, while we're linking our brains with our sort of intuitive sense. It's a good thing to remember sort of the bigger, better ideas you have about what you'd like for your life. And it's a good idea to be thinking about those sort of old wounds that you're seeking to heal, especially the social wounds, the ones where you felt, embarrassed or left out or something like that. It's good to recall those as you are turning within and doing that introspection and allowing it to guide you. That guidance will come that will allow you to see the healing that you've done, or will allow you to do some more healing. And that's all for the good of your future expanded self, for the bigger, better things you like to be, do, and have in your present and in your future. And this conjunct is also quincunx right now to Mars. Mercury quincunx to Mars right now. We have this temptation to get in a hurry. We have this temptation to sort of get ahead of ourselves. We feel the pace picking up. We've had this aspect come up a couple of times lately because both were retrograde for a minute, and then Mars went direct, and so we came back into this aspect, and then it came out of the aspect, and then Mercury went direct, and we came back into this aspect. Okay, so all the time though, the temptation has been to try to maybe we feel a sort of speed, or we feel a sort of restlessness to get things done. And so we want to hurry up. And, I'm going to say this, especially because Mercury has to do with our day-to-day, like running around and doing things, the activities that we do on a daily basis. Be careful in traffic, especially don't get in a hurry, like out in traffic or out dealing with people. Okay. We don't want to have any accidents or mishaps because we tried to rush ahead. Okay. Because rushing ahead at this time, really poorly advised. Also, if you just have this temptation to work ahead, like to get a whole bunch of stuff done in advance, you may find that if you do that, you eventually have to go back and redo some of the work that you did because you got it done too far ahead of time. You didn't quite manage it the right way. So you might find yourself having to do more work, and that will take more time in the long run. Stay with the pace of things as they are going, okay? Out in traffic, out at work, any part of your life that you can think of, if things are moving at a certain pace, go with that pace of things. Even if you feel restless, even if you want to be in a hurry, it's okay to be on top of what is needed in the moment. It's okay to work a little bit ahead, but definitely keep an eye on how things are going around you, and definitely just try to maintain a steady pace with the normal flow of things. And taken together with the Five of Swords. This gives me a kind of read the room vibe, right? Like sometimes, we're in a group of people and we open our mouth and we just say a thing that nobody understands, or that people understand quite well but they don't agree with, or something that we thought was going to be funny and it doesn't really turn out to be funny, or maybe it's just not a time to be funny, right? We open our mouth and we say the wrong thing and we turn people off by doing it, right? So the High Priestess is here to remind us to sort of listen, okay? Pay attention, take in the scene, ask ourselves, how does it feel in this space? How does it feel among these people? What is the vibe here? Okay, read the room a little bit before you open your mouth, all right? And definitely, this can speak to somebody who really just likes to have debates, who likes to have conversations and sort of, bounce different ideas off of other people. And that can be a lot of fun. And it also, just speaks to somebody who kind of knows how to use sort of logic or rationale to make their point no matter what. But that's just not always appropriate behavior, right? We do wind up turning people off if we speak out of turn, if we, insist on things that other people just don't want to think about or talk about right now, or if we always go in with the intention of knowing oh, I can win this debate, right? Read the room. Pay attention to what the other people around you are acting like. Pay attention to what the situation is that you are in, what the circumstances are surrounding it, okay? And try to make your thoughts, your plans, and your words more in alignment with what's going on around you. It's sort of the same guidance as stay with the pace of things, right? Pay attention to how fast people are going, pay attention to how quickly work is getting done, pay attention to the emotional mood or timbre of the space that you're in, and try to match yourself to it a little bit more, okay? Listen to your gut, your guidance, and your intuition. Don't sometimes sometimes when we're about to open our mouth and say the wrong thing, we'll even have a moment with ourselves where we'll say, well, this is probably the wrong thing to say, but I'm going to go ahead and say it, right? If you're having a thought in your mind or in your heart that says, oh, maybe this isn't the right thing to say, but just don't do it. Okay, just back up a little bit. There will always be time to make your point or say the thing you thought was funny at another time when it's a little more appropriate, or maybe, in a more personal conversation with somebody who will understand where you were coming from and who doesn't mind sort of your sense of wit or your tendency to sort of blurt things out in the wrong time and space. Okay, so yeah, that's very much the vibe is, really trust your guidance. Listen to yourself before you speak, okay? And listen to the people around you. Listen to the room. Listen to, the more subtle vibes of like, what kind of mood are people in around you? What's going on around you? Is it a stressed out vibe? Is it a happy vibe? Is it a very serious vibe? And try to match yourself to it. Okay. Just so that again, we don't wind up alienating people and sort of isolating ourselves that way. And I believe that's all I have to say about it today, friends. Thank you so much for joining me. I truly appreciate your presence here. My name is Mel Rose, and I'll see you all back here tomorrow for more Astrology Today and Tarot.